Well, first of all, let me start by saying that there hasn't been very much research done focusing on nutrition and osteoarthritis. What we do know is that carrying around extra weight puts extra force on the hips and knees and contributes to the development of osteoarthritis, and that losing weight will help manage both hip and knee osteoarthritis. There is some evidence suggesting that making sure that you get adequate vitamin C and D through your diet and supplements can be of benefit to help slow down the progression of osteoarthritis. Small amounts of weight loss in an overweight person reduces the risk of developing osteoarthritis. With each pound of weight loss that you reduce the load on your knee by 4 times. One study showed that an 11-pound weight loss for a female was associated with a greater than 50% decrease in the risk of developing knee osteoarthritis. Research shows that overweight women have nearly 4 times the risk of developing knee OA, and for overweight men, the risk is 5 times greater. Being overweight puts an extra 3 to 6 times the force through the hips and knees. So even losing a small amount of weight, if you're overweight, will take a big load off those joints, and with the weight loss, gets relief of symptoms. The body mass index is one way of determining if you need to lose weight. Another measure that we use is waist circumference. For women, if your waist is larger than 35 inches or 88 centimeters, and if you're a man and 40 inches for your waist or 102 centimeters, then you should think about losing a few pounds. Well, 2 things that we know that can slow down the progression of osteoarthritis are vitamin D and vitamin C. There's been some research done on vitamin D and getting adequate blood levels in people with osteoarthritis, and it's been shown that it will slow down the progression of osteoarthritis. Getting enough vitamin D in Canada can sometimes be a challenging thing, as we do get most of our vitamin D from sunshine. In the winter months in Canada, we do not get enough sunshine to produce enough vitamin D. And in the summer months, say from April till October, we use sunscreen, which blocks our vitamin D production by up to 95%. So getting enough vitamin D from the sun doesn't usually happen, and it's challenging getting enough vitamin D from our foods. So currently the Canadian Dermatology Association and the Canadian Cancer Society are recommending 1,000 international units of vitamin D per day for adults. And the official recommendations for North America are currently under review, so stay tuned. Calcium's a very important component to making our bones and teeth strong and healthy. And in order for calcium to be absorbed in the body, you need adequate vitamin D for calcium to be properly used. So vitamin D is very important from a number of standpoints. Despite the importance of vitamin D, research shows that there's a high prevalence of vitamin D deficiency in many populations, including women being treated for osteoporosis, which is another bone condition, weakening of the bones. In one study, it showed that more than half of North American women receiving therapy to treat or prevent osteoporosis have vitamin D inadequacy. So vitamin D is very important. If you're not getting enough vitamin D from the sun, consider a vitamin D supplement. And it is in most multivitamins, so check how much you're getting. Also, a lot of calcium supplements also contain vitamin D. So look at all your sources, look at how much vitamin D you're getting from your diet, 100 international units from a glass of milk, higher in fish. So those are some sources. Vitamin C is another good nutrient, and it has been shown that eating enough of vitamin C through your diet can help slow down the progression of osteoarthritis symptoms as well. So that's good sources being things like citrus fruit, oranges, tomatoes, strawberries, guavas, papaya. There's a lot of foods that are very rich in vitamin C. So if you're eating a wide variety from your fruit group, fruit and vegetables, you should be getting enough vitamin C. Omega-3s, which are a component of a lot of foods, primarily found in fish, flaxseed, hemp seed, chia. They have been shown to be helpful with regard to inflammation and with regard to heart health. So as far as making a relationship between osteoarthritis and omega-3s and whether it's beneficial, we need more research to say, take your omega-3s, it'll help your arthritis. We don't really know today if that's the case. But what we do know about omega-3s is that the long-chain fatty acids found in fish have been found to be beneficial with rheumatoid arthritis. So eat your omega-3s. Glucosamine is another nutrient that we commonly hear about in the news. A lot of people ask questions, should I be taking it, should I not be taking it? There's been a lot of studies done with regards to glucosamine and whether or not it is helpful in our osteoarthritis clients. Some studies support the use, while others do not. And you've got to consider the studies and which form of glucosamine was tested. So I say to clients, if you're going to try glucosamine sulfate is the best form to try. Look for a product that has an NPN or natural product number on the package, which means it has been approved through Health Canada as a safe product to go on the shelf. And be aware that it can take 1 to 2 months after you start taking glucosamine sulfate for you to notice any benefits from the product. You shouldn't take glucosamine if you are on blood thinners. And please, please, whenever you're taking any kind of natural product, do run it by your doctor or pharmacist because it could interact with some of the medications that you're already taking. The other thing to consider when you're looking at a natural supplement is, can you afford it? Because quite often they are very expensive, and does the benefit really warrant you purchasing the product? In Canada, natural supplements, although they do get a natural product number and get on the shelf, quite often when testing is done later on, it's found that they don't necessarily contain what it says on the label. So that's one other thing to be aware of. Well, a diet rich in nutrients is a great start. Try to eat a wide variety of foods, and based on Eating Well with Canada's Food Guide is a great start. You can use that as a resource for guiding what you should eat in the proper amounts. So this will help you to optimize your health on a daily basis. Each food group contains different nutrients, and so within each food group there are better and not so great choices. And really educating yourself about the different food groups and what you should be eating in the proper amounts will make a big difference. So making some permanent changes to the way you eat and your lifestyle, including your exercise, can make a huge improvement in your diet, and long-term the benefits can be weight control. So Eating Well with Canada's Food Guide was revised in 2008. There's been some tweaks to really increase certain amounts in the vegetable and fruit group, lower our consumption of grain products, increase the milk products slightly, especially if you're over 50 to get enough calcium, and the meats and alternative group has stayed about the same. So in terms of vegetables and fruits, this would be 1 serving, 1 orange or a medium most medium fruit would be 1 serving. Half a medium banana would also be a serving. Half a cup of cooked vegetables would be considered a serving. So half a cup or 125 mils. For raw greens, 1 cup or 250 mils would be considered a serving. If you cooked that, half a cup of leafy greens would be considered a serving. One easy way to get enough from this group, the vegetable and fruit group, is to try and have 2 servings at each meal, and then choose from that group for in-between meal snacks. Only 40% of Canadians are actually consuming their fruits and vegetables on a daily basis, and this is a strong indicator for long-term weight control. So it really is a very important group that we all need to make sure we're getting enough of. Try to consume at least 1 green, a green vegetable every day, and an orange vegetable every day, and try and fill your plate with colorful foods. It's the best way to ensure you're getting enough fruits and vegetables. Grain products, most people overconsume this group. 1 serving would be considered a slice of bread, half a cup or 125 mils of rice. Brown rice would be better than white rice because of the fiber. Half a bagel would be considered a serving. 1 muffin, notice the size, would be considered 1 serving from that group. So most commercial muffins that you buy, you're getting 3 or 4 servings worth of your grain product group. So within this group, try to make choices that are high in fiber, low in fat, and try and choose the white choices or the more refined choices less often. Milk and alternatives. 2 to 3 servings a day is what you need. Chocolate milk does count. White milk, 1 cup or 250 mils would be considered a serving. 3/4 of a cup of yogurt or 175 mils would be considered a serving. 1.5 ounces of cheese would also be considered a serving. This is an important group for calcium, protein, and riboflavin. 1 serving contains about 300 milligrams of calcium for a cup of milk. Very important for strong, healthy bones. Try to stick to the lower fat choices, so skim or 1% milk or yogurt, and the cheeses should be less than 18%. Meats and alternatives, 2 to 3 servings is what you need from this group. So 2 to 3 ounces, that's 3 ounces of chicken would be considered a serving. 2 tablespoons of peanut butter. This is 1 tablespoon, so you'd need 2 for a serving. 2 eggs would be considered a serving. Fish is an excellent choice. You should try and get fish at least twice a week from this group. High in omega-3s, which we'll talk about shortly, and try and choose the vegetarian sources more often, just because they are a great source of protein and fiber. Well, portion control is a real important point that a lot of people don't seem to realize. It's not only what you eat, but it's how much you eat. Portion sizes over the last 20 years in restaurants, in fast food outlets, have grown tremendously. We no longer know how much we're supposed to be eating. Most people see these portion sizes from Canada's Food Guide and say, oh, I had no idea. So in terms of, aside from portions, it's really important to stay hydrated. Canada's Food Guide recommends 8 to 12 cups of fluid a day, or 2 to 3 liters a day, and that includes water, tea, coffee, juices, milk, soups, fluids from all sources, basically. Tea and coffee didn't used to count, but now they do. Just make sure that you don't have more than 4 cups of coffee a day because of the caffeine. If you are trying to lose weight, drink mostly water, because water is calorie free. So calories can add up quickly from other beverages, and quicker than you might think, especially from large amounts of juice or specialty coffee drinks, things like that. Reduce the amount of salt that you're consuming. The guidelines for Canadians is now to have less than 2,300 milligrams of sodium a day, which is less than a teaspoon from all sources. So we're talking from the salt that we add, the salt we use in cooking, the salt that we get on all of our processed foods. Our overconsumption of salt has led to an epidemic of high blood pressure. So this is something that is becoming a big public problem. Start reading labels. Find out how much salt is in the food that you're eating. Things that are visibly salty, you know, is loaded with salt. Other things that we don't think of as being very salty are smoked, cured foods. Canned soups are loaded with salt, most of them. Some you can get now that are low in sodium. So look for those low sodium labels. Things that you can do instead of using salt in cooking is use lemon juice. Herbs, seasonings are a great way to flavor food without adding extra sodium. Limit the empty calories foods such as pop, candy, cakes, cookies. They add up quickly in terms of calories without giving you a lot of nutrients. So I like to tell people to focus on, are you getting nutrients when you're eating? And it's a new way of looking at what you're eating. Are you getting some nutrition when you're putting calories in your mouth? Well, there are a few myths floating around nutrition and osteoarthritis. A couple of the ones that we do hear about are things like avoiding citrus fruits or avoiding nightshade vegetables. There's a variety of things that we do hear. As far as citrus fruits go, there's no evidence to support eliminating that from your diet. In fact, they are an important source of nutrients, and especially vitamin C, which we already learned was important to slow down the progression of symptoms. So nothing to support eliminating citrus fruits from your diet with osteoarthritis. The nightshade vegetables, which is a popular fad diet of years gone by, really has not been shown scientifically to be of any benefit. Nightshade foods include things like garlic and eggplant, tomatoes, potatoes. The list goes on. They're a great source of nutrients and really shouldn't be eliminated from the diet. So really there are no foods that you should avoid due to having osteoarthritis.